All right, welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to be looking at something that might seem a little out there at first glance.
Yeah, definitely unexpected.
We're talking D&D.
We are.
And Pixar, those movies that just nail the storytelling thing, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the question is, what could these possibly have in common? Like, how do you connect those dots?
So it turns out Pixar, they have this secret weapon they use.
Oh, a secret weapon.
Yeah. This is how they craft those incredible stories.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, we can take that same weapon and use it to level up our own D&D campaigns.
Wait, seriously, we can steal from the best. I'm listening.
Absolutely. So the source material for this deep dive, we've got this blog post that explains it all. It's called the Story Spine.
Story Spine. Okay, that sounds intriguing, but also kind of vague.
I know, right? But trust me, it's a framework that Pixar writers actually use.
Wow, so it's legit.
Totally legit.
Yeah.
And we can adapt it for D&D.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. I'm going to need you to break this down for me, though.
Absolutely. So it all boils down to 6 steps.
6 steps. All right, give me the rundown.
It goes like this. And I know it sounds a bit like a children's story at first, but bear with me. Once upon a time, every day.
Okay, I'm seeing the storybook vibes.
Right. And then it gets interesting. Until one day. Because of that.
Ooh, because of that.
And then you repeat that because of that.
Yeah.
Again. So we've got that cause and effect thing happening.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Right. And then to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Until finally, and ever since then.
Okay, I'm already starting to see how this could apply to D&D. It's got that classic story structure, but it also sounds like there's a lot of room for things to go off the rails, especially with that repeated because of that.
Exactly. That repetition is key. It emphasizes the cause and effect, which is huge in D&D, right? Player choices are driving the narrative, so every decision they make,
Yeah.
every action has a ripple effect, and that shapes the entire story.
Okay, that makes sense. Their choices are literally shaping the world. But hold on, how do we actually take this Pixar model, which I assume is for, movies?
Right.
How do we make it work for a game where the players aren't following a script? They're calling the shots, right?
Yeah, totally. That's where this adaptation for D&D gets really interesting. The story spine still gives you that strong structure, but it's less about dictating events and more about guiding the story based on what the players decide to do.
So it's not like this must happen. It's more like this could happen because of.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like we're giving them the building blocks, showing them how the world works, and then we kind of step back and let them go wild.
That's a great way to put it.
All right, I'm on board with the concept, but now I need to know the specifics. How do we take those 6 steps and make them work for D&D?
All right, let's break it down step by step, D&D style.
Awesome. Let's do it.
So that first step, that once upon a time part, is all about setting the stage. Think about your world building. What's the backstory for each character? What are the stakes? What makes this world tick?
Right, got it. World building, backstories, and the overall vibe. Check.
Exactly. Then we move on to the next step, that everyday part. This is where you, as the DM, paint a picture of what life is like in this world right now. But there's a catch.
Okay, there's always a catch. Tell me more.
So within that everyday life, you're going to start hinting at the problem. The conflict that's brewing beneath the surface.
Sneaky.
Could be rumors. Maybe whispers of a forgotten prophecy or signs of some impending disaster.
Okay, so we're planting the seeds, giving the players some early clues without revealing everything right away.
Exactly. You're piquing their curiosity, making them want to figure out what's going on.
Ew, I like that. It's all about the build-up.
Exactly. And then, bam, we hit that until one day. Step. This is the inciting incident, the big event that throws everything off balance and really kicks the adventure into high gear.
Okay, so this is where things get real. Give me some examples.
So it could be something like, a dragon attacking the village.
Classic.
Right. Or maybe a political assassination that just throws the whole kingdom into chaos.
NG.
Or, how about a secret portal to another dimension suddenly opening up?
Oh, that's good. Anything goes.
Exactly. It's the moment that disrupts everything and forces the players to take action.
Awesome. So we've got our world, our everyday life, and then bam, we hit them with the big event. What happens next?
And this is where it gets really interesting. Now we hit those, because of that steps, this is where you really explore the consequences of the player's actions, all those ripple effects we talked about earlier.
Okay, so how does that work?
So let's say the players decide they're going to investigate that mysterious artifact we mentioned earlier.
All right, they're on the case.
Because of that, they uncover, like, a hidden tomb or something. which then leads to them encountering some kind of powerful guardian, you know.
Okay, starting to get a visual here.
And because of that, maybe they learn about an ancient prophecy, something that could save the world or destroy it. You get the idea.
Yeah, it's a chain reaction.
Exactly. It's a constant because of that. It keeps the story dynamic, unpredictable, and the players are super engaged because their choices have actual weight to them.
I love that. It's like they're not just going through the motions, they're actually shaping the narrative.
Exactly.
Okay, we've had all this action, twists and turns because of that, and now we reach until finally, this is like the climax, the final showdown, right?
Think of it like, I don't know, a climactic battle.
The big boss fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe some super tense negotiation to like avert a war, or even like a moral dilemma that has huge consequences.
Oh, high stakes.
Exactly. It's the culmination of everything that's come before.
All right, so then we reach the final step. And ever since then, this is where we see how the players' actions have changed the world, right? The lasting impact of everything they've done.
Right. But here's the thing. It's not just a simple happily ever after ending, you know?
Oh, so there's more to it.
This is what makes this story spine so perfect for D&D. Because it allows for different outcomes based on the choices they made. Think of it like branching paths.
Oh, branching paths. I like it.
Yeah. So you could have a success where the players accomplish their goals and they're the heroes, you know. But you can also have failure where their actions have unintended consequences, or maybe they just straight up lose.
Oh, so it's not always a happy ending.
Not necessarily. And there's that middle ground too. You mentioned it earlier, that status quo situation.
Right.
So maybe they managed to prevent total disaster, but things aren't perfect either. The underlying problems are still there, or maybe they won, but at a huge cost.
Ooh, yeah, like a bittersweet victory. That's interesting.
Exactly. It keeps things open for future adventures and keeps the world feeling alive.
I love that. Even though we have this framework, there's still so much room for variation and player agency. It's not just a straight line from point A to point B.
Absolutely. It's about giving some structure, but also embracing all the unpredictable craziness that we love about D&D. Which brings us to a really good point. How does this actually play out in a real campaign? We can talk about the theory all day long, but I bet our listeners want to know how this works in practice.
Yeah, for sure. And luckily for us, the blog post that we're using as our source, it actually gives us a fantastic example. It's called the Tides of Varonis campaign.
Ah, yes, Tides of Varonis. Great example.
And it shows how each of those story spine steps is used to create a really cool and engaging story.
Ready to set sail for Varonis and see how this all unfolds?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
All right, so picture this. Once upon a time, there's this bustling port city, Varonis. It's known for its vibrant culture, you know, tons of trade happening, and there's this magical water surrounding the city.
Ooh, magical water. I'm already intrigued.
It's cool, right? But there's also this underlying sense of longing. Like they're yearning for something more.
Oh, I like that. A sense of mystery. What are they yearning for?
Well, so beneath the surface, under all that beautiful magical water,
Yeah.
there are ruins of a lost empire.
Whoa, a lost empire. That's cool.
Yeah. And this empire, it was known for its powerful magic, maybe even dangerous magic.
Okay, now we're talking.
So rumors of this lost empire, they're all over the city. That's where that sense of longing comes from. And that's going to be the foundation of our problem.
Ah, I see. It's like this lost history, this potential that's just out of reach.
Exactly. It's a great setup. And then we hit that until one day moment. Something big happens.
Yeah.
A long-lost artifact from that ancient empire, it gets pulled from the sea.
No way.
Yeah. Could be anything. A crown, a scepter, some magical orb, you know, whatever fits your campaign.
Okay, so an ancient artifact surfaces. I bet that throws the city into chaos.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Suddenly, those rumors about the Lost Empire, they're not just rumors anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to get their hands on this artifact and unlock its secrets.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So you've got all these different factions vying for power, treasure hunters looking for fame and fortune. Who knows? Maybe even a shadowy cult lurking in the shadows.
Man, it's getting good. Where do the players come in? What do they do?
Well, because of that artifact surfacing, because of all this chaos, they get caught right in the middle of it.
Oh.
Right. Maybe they're hired to protect the artifact, or maybe they just stumble upon it while they're investigating something totally unrelated. Whatever it is, now they're tangled up in all this danger and intrigue.
And this is where their choices really start to have consequences, right?
Exactly. Every decision leads to more complications, more because of that.
Name an example.
Okay, so maybe they decide to side with one of those factions we talked about?
Risky move.
It is because, because of that, now they're enemies with another faction. Or maybe they try to keep the artifact hidden, but because of that, now they become targets themselves.
Oh, man, talk about a tough spot.
It's all about those chain reactions. And the momentum just keeps building until finally, imagine this. The players, after weeks, maybe months of adventuring, they finally discover the truth behind how that empire fell.
The truth. What happened?
Who knows? Maybe they were corrupted by their own magic. Maybe there was a betrayal from within. It's up to you as the DM.
Ooh, that's good. I like it.
But the point is, now the players are faced with a huge decision.
A big decision, yeah.
Do they use everything they've learned, maybe even the artifact itself, to try to bring back this lost empire?
Oh, wow.
Right. But that could mean unleashing all that powerful, potentially dangerous magic again.
Yeah.
Or do they destroy the artifact and make sure the empire stays buried?
Okay, that's a tough one. Do you risk bringing back something potentially dangerous, or do you try to protect the world by destroying a piece of history?
Exactly. Those are the choices that matter.
And I bet each option has its own consequences, leading to totally different and ever since then outcomes.
You got it. That's what makes this model so cool. It sets things up so the players' choices are truly meaningful. Their decisions shape their characters, the story, and even the whole world.
I'm seeing the light now. This story spine thing is awesome.
Right. It's a game changer.
But before we get too deep into those and ever since then scenarios, I think we need to take a step back and really unpack why this whole framework is so beneficial. I mean, we've seen it in action, but why should we as D&D players and DMs care about this Pixar-inspired approach? What makes it so special?
That's a great question, and it's one we should definitely dig into.
All right, so I am fully on board with the story spine thing now. I get it, it's cool, but how does this actually benefit the players and the DM? Why should we care about using this in our D&D games?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? So what? What's the big deal? Well, it's all about taking your campaigns, giving them that extra layer of structure, that depth, making the story more meaningful. But it still leaves plenty of room for all those crazy D&D moments that we love.
Okay, I like that. Structure, but also flexibility. So for the players specifically, what are the benefits for them when you use the story spine?
For players, I think one of the biggest things is that their choices actually matter. They're not just going through the motions of some predetermined plot.
Right.
It's their decisions, even the small ones, that are shaping the world around them.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like every little thing they do has a consequence, good or bad.
Exactly. So suddenly the game has these higher stakes.
Yeah. It's not just about winning or losing a fight. It's about how their actions are changing the course of the story.
Exactly. And as they face those challenges, they make those difficult choices, their characters actually grow.
Right.
They develop. It's like they're not just playing through a story, they're co-creating it.
With you, with the other players.
Exactly. It becomes this shared experience.
Oh, I like that. It's a more personal journey for their characters.
It is. But it's not just the players who benefit,
Yeah.
The story spine, it's a really fantastic tool for DMs as well.
Oh, okay, I'm interested. How does it help us as DMs?
Well, remember that first step?
Yeah.
That once upon a time part?
Yeah, the world building part.
Right. That step is basically the foundation for your entire campaign.
Okay.
The story spine helps you, as the DM, build a world that feels cohesive, a world where everything is connected. It all makes sense.
So it's like we're weaving this intricate tapestry, and each step of the story spine adds a new layer.
I like that analogy. And it's not about restricting your creativity or anything like that.
Right.
It's about giving you this framework to work within.
Okay.
But you still have all the freedom to add your own personal touches, your own style, to make the campaign your own.
I'm glad to hear that, because I don't want to feel like I'm just following some rigid formula,
Of course not. It's more like having a blueprint that helps you avoid getting lost.
Yeah. That's actually something I struggled with a lot when I first started DMing. My campaigns would sometimes get all over the place, and I could tell the players are getting bored.
Yeah, I've been there.
The story spine would have helped me so much back then.
Oh, absolutely. It keeps things focused.
Yeah.
For you and for the players. And remember those because of that moments we talked about? Those are so valuable, for keeping your sessions dynamic.
Oh, yeah, I love those.
It forces you, as the DM, to think on your feet.
Right.
To adapt to whatever the players decide to do.
Yeah.
And just embrace the unexpected.
You know what I like about it? It takes some of the pressure off. I don't need to have every single little detail planned out in advance.
Nope.
Because I know the story spine is there to guide me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because you're always thinking in terms of cause and effect, it makes the world feel more real.
Yeah, it's reactive, not just static.
Right. What the players do actually matters. Their actions have real weight to them.
I'm telling you, this story spine thing, it's a game changer.
It is. And the best part, you can adapt it to any style of campaign. High fantasy, a gritty noir mystery, sci-fi. It all works.
The possibilities are endless. Okay, but let's think about our listeners for a second. They've heard us geek out about this model. They've seen it in action with that Tides of Varonis example, but what's the next step for them? How do they actually use this in their own games?
That's the perfect question. Let's give them some practical tips.
Okay, so for all you DMs and players out there, let's get practical, shall we? We've talked about what the story spine is, why it's awesome, but how do we actually use it, to create those really epic D&D campaigns?
Right. Like, how do we make this thing work?
Exactly.
All right, so first things first, don't get thrown off by how simple it is. Remember the 6 steps we talked about?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, all that.
Yeah.
Those are your guiding stars.
Guiding stars, I like that.
They give you the direction, but they don't tell you every single step to take.
Okay, so it's like a roadmap, but we can take detours.
Exactly. You have the freedom to explore, to discover.
Make it arrow.
Exactly. So you've got your roadmap, those 6 steps. What's next?
All right, lay it on me. What's next?
Grab your notebook, your favorite dice, whatever helps you brainstorm.
Ooh, yeah, the dice.
Right. And think about the campaign you want to run. What kind of world are we talking about? What's the overall feeling?
High fantasy, sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, maybe like a gritty noir mystery.
All of that. It's all up to you. Once you've got a good feel for that, start filling in those story spine blanks. Like once upon a time, there was this kingdom hidden in mist, ruled by this super old but kind queen.
Yeah.
Or how about once upon a time, a huge city run on magic rose from the ashes of a forgotten war.
Whoa, that's a good one.
It's all about using your imagination.
Oh, and here's a thought. What about getting the players involved in the brainstorming too? Ask them about their characters.
Yes, that's so important.
Okay.
What kind of stories do they want to tell? What are their characters' goals?
Right, because it's their story too.
Exactly. The more invested they are, the better the campaign will be for everyone.
For sure. Okay, so we're brainstorming, we're getting the players involved. Anything else we should keep in mind during this stage?
Don't forget those "and ever since then" possibilities. Think about the different outcomes. Like, what happens if the players succeed? What if they fail? What if it's somewhere in between?
Right. Like, what if they stop the bad guy, but at a huge cost?
Exactly. That way, no matter what the players do, you're ready for it.
It keeps things exciting. Okay, and what about those because of that moments? How do we make the most of those?
Those are gold. That's where you can create those chain reactions that make the world feel so real. But remember, it's not about just throwing random encounters at them.
Yeah, it's got to be connected.
It's about taking their choices and weaving them into the story.
Okay, so give me an example. How does that work in practice?
Okay, so imagine this. A few sessions ago, the players decided to spare a bandit. They didn't kill him, they let him go.
Okay, merciful heroes.
Right. Well, because of that, maybe that bandit shows up again later. Not as an enemy this time, but as an ally. He gives them some crucial information.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. Or maybe because they spared him, that bandit actually becomes even more powerful, and now he's like a crime lord or something.
Whoa, talk about unintended consequences.
Right. It's all about cause and effect. And it makes the players really think about their choices because they know those choices will have lasting impact.
It makes their actions feel real.
Exactly. But remember, the story spine isn't about following a bunch of rules.
Right.
It's a guide. Use it to help you, to give you ideas.
Yeah, I don't want to feel trapped, I still want to be able to improvise and just go with the flow sometimes.
Of course. That's part of the fun. Embrace those unexpected moments. That's what makes D&D so great.
It's all about telling a good story, right?
Exactly. Have fun with it. Well said. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground today, but the big takeaway is the story spine. It's a super valuable tool for D&D. It helps with structure, gives the players agency, and creates those because of that moments that keep things exciting.
So to all the DMs and players out there, go out there and use this. Create something amazing.
Yes. And that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep those dice rolling and those stories unfolding.